I guess it was about 18 years or so. I was at the station for, I believe, 22 years. And the last 2 years, well, it must have been 20 years. The last 2 years I was news director. And that's really what I had aspired to do. I felt that in a management position, you could have more of an impact. And that's what I tried to do with our staff. I tried to be there for them, be the buffer between management above me and the newsroom, because we had to do what was right and follow the story.
Absolutely. Diversity was also very important to you as the news director, and you and I met 20 years ago and sat down and talked about that.
Yeah.
Today, does that still resonate in your mind, in your heart, in your thoughts about diversity when it comes to a newsroom, a news gathering industry?
Absolutely. A newsroom has to be a reflection of your community. It has to be. And that's what I tried to do when I was news director there. And it's just the right thing, because you have to be in touch. And if you don't have someone that looks like you on the air, it's sad. It seems like those positions would only be for certain people. And so you have to break those barriers. And I think Channel 3 has done a good job doing that. I was very proud to be at the station. And there's always more that can be done. But it takes time.
Yeah, it does. But you were there at a time when Channel 3 was, first of all, top dog, and still continues to be. But you were at a time there when you guys were doing things differently, the hard way, the pen and pad. It was not an easy time to be a journalist. You had to edit your B-rolls, your videotapes. Do you miss any of that?
No, and let me correct you. I didn't have to edit. We had wonderful photographers, like the gentleman behind the camera right now, Preston, who did that magic. And oh my gosh, did it very well. So I was spoiled. I could focus on reporting. Although I do admit, grabbing the back of his shirt from time to time so that he wouldn't run into a pole or a wall when he was trying to get that video. But oh my gosh, I loved it, every minute of it.
Do you miss any of it at all?
Oh, sometimes when there's a big national story, I wonder, what's really being discussed in those closed-door meetings? And sometimes I think it would be nice to be reporting, to know a little bit more. But no, I had my ride and it was wonderful. And now I just am a volunteer and I'm happy with that.
When you hear the term or the words, makes no difference where you are, do you remember that? It's part of the Channel 3 song.
Hello, South Texas.
Hello, South Texas. Do you ever think about that? The promos we used to do?
I remember some of them, but I tell you what really sticks out is I started working when Domingo was still there. And I got the biggest kick out of him saying, Channel 3, KIII. And he said it with so much gusto. And I loved it. He just made me smile. And that was really an important time for Channel 3, because that was a commitment to the Hispanic community, having Domingo on there and highlighting the musicians. And I was proud of that.
Isn't it cool, though, to know that Domingo is credited as the cornerstone of the success of Channel 3? Does it surprise you?
No. People loved him. And he was an interesting character. We all loved him. But he had color and flair, and he just grew on everybody. Yeah.
Any thoughts of ever coming back into the industry at all, maybe as a freelancer? Have you done anything like that?
I have done some freelancing over the last couple of years, but that's my past. And I loved it, but there are more people now available to report, and it's time for them to do that.
That said, encouraging words to some young lady or young man out
Keensville, in fact, I actually got lost in Keensville last night. You know, I have GPS in my car, but I'm in a rental and it doesn't have GPS. And James is the one that always does it on the phone with CarPlay.
Sure.
I don't have that app on my phone, and I'm like, just go on 77.
my
And I
goodness.
got here, but it was dark by
Yeah.
the time my flight arrived. So I was surprised.
trying to remember.
Well, and it was dark,
Yes.
and then suddenly I woke up this morning and I thought, I remember that. But the campus has really grown, and it's good to see.
Okay, I'm gonna do my cup here.
Okay.
So
Make sure
sync
that's
up audio. And we are
Okay, good. Lilly, welcome home.
Oh, thank you. It feels good. It's been too long.
It really has. Where have you been? How have you been?
I had been gone for 20 years, and I've been all over. My husband was in the military, a chaplain in the military, the Air Force. So we spent a couple of years here and there and everywhere. We traveled to places I had always been interested in seeing. We lived overseas for 6 years, and that was fabulous and very educational and enlightening.
While you were 3, you covered a variety of stories, from hard news to incredible stories that told of the people that made up our community. You look at television today, your thoughts as we evolve into the future, and as the media now uses the cell phone, we rely a lot on our cell phones now for everything.
It's really amazing. I would have enjoyed having that cell phone that we have today and using that. But way back when I was reporting, it was a pad and pencil, and it was tough. And you had to work really hard to get it right. Now you get clips and it's verbatim, which is really interesting. So I would have enjoyed that.
Each stories come to mind that you hold on to, that were really important to you. Can you name a few for us?
There's a number of things that I covered. Like you said, there were positive stories, there were negative stories, there were just tough stories. I covered the courts for a long time, and I saw a number of crimes that were committed and trials. I watched an execution in Huntsville, and you go through the motions, you do what you're supposed to, what you've been trained to do. But when you go home, it was hard, because then you have to process everything, and it was just tough. The execution that I covered really got to me. I don't think people realize how difficult it is to cover those kinds of stories. But then on the flip side, you have these fabulous stories, like Flying with the Blue Angels was a highlight. That was just absolutely amazing, and good experiences. And then interviewing ordinary people and their stories, because everyone has a story. Sarah Murtis comes to mind, and all the work that she did in Patsun, Guatemala. And she described herself as just a 70-year-old grandmother who wanted to help the poor. And my goodness, they built a clinic, a health clinic there. And I was fortunate enough to go and document all of that. It was a pleasure and a privilege.
How awesome is that? As a Hispanic female in the 70s, in television use, breaking barriers and setting trends for those who followed in your footsteps. Today, you mention the name Lilly Flores-Vela. To anyone who has inspired to be or aspired to be a journalist, they know who you are. How does that make you feel, knowing that you
Humble.
did this?
A little embarrassed, but I was just doing what I was trained to do. And I truly went into this trying to provide a public service because it's important to know what's going on in your community. And I was taught to gather the facts, be the eyes and ears for the public, and to present that in a fair manner, just the facts. And I took that very seriously. And I was just doing my job, whatever it took. To get up early in the morning and stay late, you know that. It's not easy, and it takes its toll on your family life. But that's what I wanted to do, and I had a wonderful time doing it.
You went from the Caller Times as a reporter there, and then a reporter on television, and then you became news director after how many years?
Oh, goodness.